Hello, I am Shivaji Bhaskar, Faculty of Russian at the School of Foreign Languages, IGNOU. I welcome you all to this course, Basics of Russian Communication Skills, Part 2. As you know, that we have been discussing about various aspects of the Russian grammar and phonetics in our previous modules. We have been discussing these aspects with the help of different texts in Russian. As you must be aware that these texts as a teaching methodological tool have been used to make you understand the basics of Russian grammar and phonetics. That is why in this module we have also brought to you a new text with the help of which you will learn a few new expressions and words. You will also come across different new verbs in their conjugated forms so that you can understand Russian in a better way. So the title of the text is Ab Ivane, which means about Ivan. I'll read the text in Russian first so that you can understand the tone and texture of the language. Afterwards, we will understand it with the help of English translation so that you know the meaning of different words, expressions, verbs, sentences. Then we will look at the questions based on the text and try to answer it correctly. So the title of the text is Ab Ivane. Please pay attention. Иван – журналист. Его родной язык русский, но он хорошо знает английский язык. Иван неплохо говорит по-английски и читает английские газеты и журналы. Сейчас он учит китайский язык, потому что он работает в Китае. Он уже немного понимает по-китайски. Дома Иван повторяет новые китайские слова и читает китайские стихи. Иван говорит, что китайский язык – это трудный язык, но интересный. Он говорит, мне нравятся китайские стихи, и я часто читаю эти стихи по-китайски. А еще я часто слушаю китайские песни и смотрю китайские фильмы. So here we have just read the text in Russian about Ivan. So here we have just seen the text about Ivan. You must have seen and understood the tone and texture of the language. Now let's pay attention to a few questions based on the text, and afterwards we shall try to understand the text with the help of English translation. So the first question is, скажите, что вы узнали об Иване? Кто он? Какой язык он хорошо знает? Что он читает по-английски? So in the first question itself, we are asking you different questions based on the life of Ivan. What kind of person is he? What other languages does he know? Etc. So in this particular question, you can narrate about Ivan by paying attention to the text carefully. Now let's see rest of the questions. Какой язык он учит сейчас? Почему? Как он учит этот язык? Что он делает? Что говорит Иван? So these are a few questions. Then a few more questions which you can answer. Кто вы? Как вас зовут? Где вы учитесь? Какой язык вы знаете? Какой язык вы учите? Как вы думаете, русский язык трудный? Как вы думаете? Как вы учите русский язык? Что вы делаете? So here, with the help of these set of questions, you can also talk about yourself or расскажите о себе. Now let's pay attention to the text once again and try to understand its meaning with the help of English translation. So the title of the text is Об Иване, means about Ivan. Ivan journalist. Ivan is a journalist. Его родной язык русский. His mother tongue is Russian. Но он хорошо знает английский язык, but he also knows English well. Иван неплохо говорит по-английски, читает английские газеты и журналы. Ivan speaks English and can read English newspapers and journals. А сейчас он учит китайский язык. And right now he is learning Chinese. Потому что он работает в Китае. Because he is working in China. Он уже немного понимает по-китайски. He already understands little bit in Chinese. Дома Иван повторяет новые китайские слова и читает китайские стихи. At home, Ivan repeats new Chinese words and reads Chinese poems. Иван говорит, что китайский язык – это трудный язык, но интересный. Ivan says that Chinese is a tough language, but interesting. Он говорит, мне нравятся китайские стихи, и я часто читаю эти стихи по-китайски. He says that he likes Chinese poems and he often read them in Chinese. А еще я часто слушаю китайские песни и смотрю китайские фильмы. And I also listen to Chinese songs and watch Chinese films. Alright, now let's pay attention to a few questions after knowing about Ivan. We have understood the text with the help of English translation. Now let's look at the meaning of these questions. Скажите, что вы узнали об Иване? Please tell what do you know about Ivan. Кто он? Who is he? Какой язык он хорошо знает? Which language he knows well? Что он читает по-английски? What does he read in English? Какой язык он учит? Какой язык он учит сейчас? Почему? Which language is he learning right now and why? Как он учит этот язык? How is he learning this language? Что он делает? What is he doing? Что говорит Иван? What Ivan says. Then the second part, расскажите о себе. Please tell about yourself. Кто вы? Who are you? Как вас зовут? What is your name? Где вы учитесь? Where did you study? Какой язык вы учите? Which language do you learn? Как вы думаете, русский язык трудный? How do you think? Как вы думаете, русский язык трудный? What do you think? Russian language is tough? Как вы учите русский язык? How are you learning Russian? Что вы делаете? What are you doing? Alright, now after understanding the questions based on the text, we can underline the important aspects, the important sentences which belong to the questions. Please pay attention to the form of questions, in which case we have asked the questions, try to answer in that, so that not only you are giving the correct information but answer them in correct grammatical pattern. Now let's pay attention to the text once again and pay attention to its analysis. The title of the text is Ab Ivania. We already know that when do we use the expressions a, it is a preposition, so the case is prepositional case, and whenever after the preposition o, if we have any noun or word starting with a, it changes into ab. Ab Ivan. Ivan journalist. Ivan is a journalist. So for the profession journalist, we have the word in Russian journalist. If I want to say that Ivan is working as a journalist, then Ivan работает журналистом. So like this you can also answer the question. Кто он? Он журналист. Кем он работает? Он работает журналистом. So like this you can answer. Его родной язык русский. Какой язык родной у Ивана? So like this you can answer. Его родной язык русский. And if you pay attention to the usage of родной язык русский, here for Russian we have used the word русский and родной язык. It is an expression for Indians. If you want to say that Hindi is your mother tongue, then мой родной язык, язык Hindi or Hindi in Russian. For any other language you can use the same expressions, мой родной язык, then the name of the language. Но он хорошо знает английский язык. Using the expressions for saying but, we use no. Но он хорошо знает английский, but he knows English well. Хорошо знает, knows well. Знать means to know, has been conjugated in the form for Ivan in the pronoun on. Английский язык. So язык is a noun language. For English, Chinese, Russian, these are all used as adjectives. So русский язык, английский язык, японский язык, китайский язык, like that. Иван неплохо говорит по-английски, читает английские газеты и журналы. Иван неплохо. So whenever we use this expression неплохо, it actually means okay or normal, not bad. So Ivan speaks English, not bad, and reads English newspapers and journals. So газеты и журналы. Газета changes into газеты, journal changes into журналы. Ending of the nouns plural form. That is why the adjective английские. So this you can also pay attention to. А сейчас он учит китайский язык. And right now he is learning from the verb учиться, учить. Он учит китайский язык, Chinese language. However, right now in Russian we normally don't use Mandarin as of now because they already have this word for it, китайский язык, which means Chinese language. So please always use китайский язык only. Don't use Mandarin in Russian because it would lead to confusion. Потому что он работает в Китае. that because he is working in China. Он уже немного понимает по-китайски. He already understands little bit in Chinese. So here sometimes Chinese has been used as adjective from the word Kitai, which is the noun. So here and there you can change the nouns, use them as adjectives, and sometimes the other way. Дома Иван повторяет новые китайские слова. So whenever we have plural, slova changes into slava. So this is the basic difference between these two words in singular and plural. Китайские слова. Иван повторяет, repeats. Повторять, повторить means to repeat. Новые китайские слова. And the adjective новые has been used in plural, новые китайские слова. New Chinese words, пишет китайские и читает китайские стихи and reads Chinese poems. Иван говорит, что китайский язык это трудный язык, но интересный. Ivan says that the Chinese language it's difficult one but interesting. So трудный, which means difficult. No интересный but interesting. So these are the two adjectives you can also use while answering the question. Он говорит, мне нравятся китайские стихи, и я часто читаю эти стихи по-китайски. Он говорит, она говорит, he says, she says. There you can see that how the verb говорить has been conjugated. Мне нравятся китайские стихи, и я часто читаю эти стихи по-китайски. I like Chinese poems and I oftenly read them in Chinese. А еще я часто слушаю and I also often listen to слушаю for я. Китайские песни, Chinese songs. So if you want to change китайские into русские, индийские, then you can change also while talking about yourself. И смотрю китайские фильмы and watch Chinese films. So here you can see that we have used different aspects of the grammar, prepositional, and we have seen the usage of the conjugated forms of verbs so that you can also make your own sentences. However, we have used the adjectives and nouns multiple times belonging to Chinese. You can also use them. So here we are talking about Ruski, we are talking about Angliski, we are talking about Kitaiski. If you know any other language, you can also talk about that while narrating about yourself. As you have seen that we have asked you a question at the end. Расскажите о себе. Narrate about yourself. Alright. Since we have already understood the text about Ivan through the English translation, we have also seen important aspects of the grammar which we have used in our text analysis. As you know that in order to construct sentence in Russian, it is important to identify the correct noun along with adjectives, so the ending of the adjective and noun are in agreement. It is also important to give meaning to the sentence, to know the right and the correct form of verb in its conjugated form. It is also important to know about pronouns, as these are some basic concepts which we have already learned in the previous modules of Russian. But as far as different texts are concerned, we always want our learners to focus on the creative side of narrating, so that if they want to express themselves in Russian, then they have to think beyond some of the aspects. So sometimes constructions can be different, sometimes the expressions can be changed. However, we always revolve around the specific rules which we have made for the Russian grammar. So that you have to always keep in mind. Likewise, whenever we are also asking the questions, if you have been asked a question by a Russian, pay a very important attention to that particular question, what the person has exactly asked you. If he is saying "Кто вы," it actually means who are you, that what do you do. To be more specific, if people are asking you "Кем вы работаете," it is very significant indication that what kind of work do you do or what is your profession. However, in Russian you already have a word "Какая ваша профессия," what is your profession, but normally it is not considered nice to ask straight away. So that is why these kind of questions are formed. However, if we are very close, then you already know the rules how to formulate sentences based on that. Now let's get back to the text and pay attention to a few questions which we have. So let's begin with the first one. Скажите, что вы узнали об Иване. As we already know, скажите means narrate or say. Что вы узнали об Иване. In Russian we have plenty of verbs. Sometimes they are very peculiar about their meaning, but sometimes they are interchangeable. For example, расскажите, which means actually narrate, скажите, which means say, говорите also means to say. So they are interchangeable. So скажите, что вы узнали об Иване. So here we have used the perfective verb сказать. That is why we have to tell everything about Ivan through the text we came to know about. So скажите, что вы узнали об Иване. What do you know about Ivan? Что вы узнали. So what did we learn about Ivan in this? First, he is a journalist. So он журналист. Он хорошо знает английский. Он учит китайский. Он живет в Китае. So like these kind of information from the text you can refer to and answer. Now let's go in a serial wise manner. One by one we shall take the questions and answer. Кто он? Who is he? Он журналист. Simple, because the question is in nominative. So simply we will answer it in nominative. Кто он? Он журналист. The second one is какой язык он хорошо знает. So the question is какой, which language does he know well. So какой is for that particular language, and we know that he know English language well. So английский язык хорошо знает он. Он хорошо знает английский язык. So you can formulate the sentence like that. Then the third question is что он читает по-английски. Pay attention to the question. The question is что, what. So that is actually asking about the things he read. So we already know he reads newspapers and journals in English. Not bad. Он читает по-английски газеты и журналы. So like this you can answer. The fourth one is какой язык он учит сейчас? Почему? So here the question is again какой, which language is he learning right now and why? So we know that he is learning Chinese. So китайский язык. Он учит сейчас китайский язык. Почему? Why? Because he lives in China. Потому что он сейчас живет в Китае. The fifth one is как он учит этот язык? How? So how he is learning? He is learning at home. He repeats these new Chinese words several times. Then he also reading Chinese poems. He always says that he is also listen to the Chinese songs and watches films, right? So that you can say that how does he prepare himself? Он учит этот язык, повторяет новые слова, читает китайские стихи, слушает китайскую музыку и он смотрит китайские фильмы. Like that you can answer. Then the sixth one is что говорит Иван? Иван говорит, что он говорит, что китайский это трудный, но интересный язык. First thing he says about Chinese is that it's a tough language but interesting. Он тоже говорит, что он слушает китайскую музыку и смотрит китайские фильмы. So he listens to the Chinese music and watches Chinese films. So like this you can elaborate and answer. You can always go back to the text and read more about it. I'm just giving you hints how to answer. Then very important question about yourself. So о себе, which means about yourself. Расскажите о себе, narrate about yourself. Кто вы, как вас зовут? Who are you? What is your name? Где вы учитесь? So depending upon these all questions which we have asked you, try to answer them in the same context as we have seen the text about Ivan, what kind of languages does he know, and what kind of work he do, how he prepare for learning the language, etc. So another important question which we are asking you is как вы думаете, русский язык трудный? So, and how do you think that Russian, is it a tough language? And как вы учите русский язык? So what is your strategy, what is your style to learn language? What kind of different new things you do which helps you to learn Russian? So you have to narrate everything and try to answer these two questions. As you know that when we use our thoughts, when we use our minds to express, to say whatever we are learning, especially a foreign language like Russian, then it helps you to comprehend and then try to use the important aspects. How do we formulate a sentence in Russian? So whenever you try to answer anything, for example, как вы думаете, русский язык трудный? So simply, я думаю, что русский язык трудный. So like that I think that Russian is tough, Russian is not tough. Что вы учите, как вы учите русский язык? Я тоже повторяю новые слова. У меня есть словарь, у меня есть друзья. Мы общаемся по-русскому. Like that you can also answer. So think and use the grammatical aspects which we have taught you. Construct simple sentences first. Identify important verbs first. Know how they are conjugated, know their meaning. Also try to know about if they can be conjugated in the past tense. And then make your own answer in the text. I hope you enjoyed this text about Ivan. We shall be bringing more such texts so that you can converse in Russian easily and find it very interesting. Thank you.